Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
All right, we're in on the Redbird Rush Hour. Matt, Pauley, Bernie, Miklasz, Kevin. And Bernie, I have to let it hit the post, buddy. You got to let that go. I got to let that eat a little bit. You like that?
Oh, man, that's what I was laughing at.
I saw you laughing.
Wheeler.
You got to let it hit the post, man. That's such a good turn right there. You let that hit, and then you're good to go. That's how I get so fired up, man.
No matter what kind of music it is, I've always appreciated that music's gone. Even if it's a mellow song, all of a sudden there's a pause. And then the first time you hear it, you're like, wait a minute. Is my stuff not working? Or what? I like that.
I do, too. That's one of my favorite elements in music. I love changes. I like when you go from one to the other. You go from speed to slow or from slow to speed. I like the second one better. I like a calm before the storm, and then boom, we got lightning and thunder.
I spent many years in music radio, and you learn to talk over the bed right before. So like, if people ever wonder,
there's a post you got to hit.
Yeah, you got to wait for it. So that's just part of radio.
All right. Well, that's a good kickoff to this Friday. The three of us kicking things around as we kick off the second half of the year. And look, man, if you guys want to chime in, throw in your 2 cents on anything, opinions, questions, whatever, you're up on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Feel free to just throw in the comments there. 314-436-7900. If you're going to text old school and you're just driving around listening to us, use voice to text, please. don't be doing the text and drive thing. But we got a lot to do, and getting you set for tonight. Of course, 7:45 pregame, 8:40 first pitch. I'm going to ask you guys just a question to kick it off. This is just loose, and I can throw this out there if you're listening to or watching. It's out there for everybody. What does it take for a direction to be declared by July 31st? I think that's what we're all wondering, right? What does it take for us to have a direction declared?
I want to hear Matt Pauley's answer because Wheels, you and I talked about this on the Dave Glover show. So I want to hear Pauley.
I mean, I could end up being wrong on this. I think it's going to present itself in a really obvious way when we're within a few days of the trade deadline. By that point in time, I feel like we're going to know if this team actually has the opportunity to add a piece or two and go on some type of run and be a team that can do something in the postseason or even get to the postseason. So we spend so much time talking buy or sell. Like, I just think it's going to organically show up. It's very obviously in front of the trade deadline.
Wheels, to continue what we were talking about earlier, here's what I think. All the trends for the Cardinals basically are negative. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just a fact. I mean, you go back to May 30th when it started to turn, they're 19-22, and over that time, I think that's the 11th winning percentage in the National League. They went in the All-Star break, having lost 8 out of 12. The starting rotation has really fallen apart. The offense, even though Ivan Herrera clearly is going to make them better, I got a good stat on that, which we'll get to. But, the offense has had way too many games where they score no runs, one run, 2 runs.
Yeah.
They're really, really inconsistent. The bullpen has held up steadily, and the bench is better. There are some pluses, but they're not winning as often as at home, as they had been, and that's a big deal. And so the thing I'm trying to do, and I'm sorry about the long answer, but the thing I'm trying to do is not to overreact. If these next 13 games, if they come out of there with 8 wins or something. 9 wins, maybe, it doesn't mean like, oh yeah, they're in it. They're good to go. This team's ready, because they're hanging around because other teams have let them hang around. And it isn't because they've done anything great since the end of May, because they haven't. So I would just beware of fool's gold. If there's any doubt in my mind, then they should sell. Because it's not, I got news for you. You're not going to win the World Series. So you got to be realistic about this, even if you get in the playoffs.
All right, you guys are going to yell at me for this, so I'm fully prepared to be yelled at. Just when I say what I'm about to say.
Are you going to be Redbird here?
No, not at all. Not at all. I want to acknowledge up front that there are significant differences between the team that I'm going to mention and this one. But one that's not different is the starting rotation. If you had told anybody, and we remember it from 2006, they were supposed to lose every playoff series and lose it badly to the Padres, the Mets, and the Tigers. And that was a starting rotation that at the playoff time did not have Chris Carpenter, had Jason Marquis with a 6.02 ERA in 33 starts, Jeff Suppan with a 4.12. He was your ace. You had Anthony Reyes with a 5.06 ERA, Jeff Weaver with a 5.18. That team won the World Series. I don't think it's the same because there's no Albert Pujols on this team. and even though Edmonds and Roland were good that year, they weren't their kind of good. They only had 3 above average hitters in the everyday lineup that year, and it was those three guys.
Number one, the Cardinals, the reason there was a sudden transformation in the playoffs is because the team was healthy.
Yes, exactly right.
The team was not healthy down the stretch.
That's correct.
But
that pitching staff stunk.
I remember, but there was also some other things going on, which like you had to give Dave Duncan a little time to get Jeff Weaver going.
He fixed him, eventually.
Yeah. So I remember having a conversation with Walt Jocketty like about 3 or 4 hours before. No, it was the day before the San Diego series, first round. And he said, "Look, man, you can laugh at me." He said, "But I saw these guys get off the bus today, and I'm looking at them, and they're all healthy. Every single one of them is healthy, and we haven't had that in a long time. Dave Duncan's got Jeff Weaver going now. We wonder whether Adam Wainwright can handle the closing job, but Izzy's coaching him up. So, all due respect to you, I just reject the premise. It lacks. My friend, I love you, but it lacks context.
Well, no, I completely agree. But we keep hearing the argument, and I agree with this generally. If you said, "Is this team going to make a run in the playoffs?" My answer is no. I would not say so. But that team was one that nobody would either. Like if you had said, "Are you going to win the World Series with Marquis, Weaver, Reyes, and Suppan?" Nobody would have said yes before it happened.
Well, hold on now,
because everybody had Detroit winning in a sweep.
Chris Carpenter was the horse. Jeff Suppan is a guy that makes pitches, and you know that he's going to give you for just about every time out. He's going to be really smart about his approach, and he's going to do what he can to keep the team, the other team, from hitting doubles and home runs, things like that. And then you have Jeff Weaver, and Jeff Weaver, man, he won a game in every postseason round.
He did. But he also had a 5.18 ERA. Again, he was basically Miles.
Listen, see, now you're going to get me mad. You're looking at the ERA before Dave Duncan could really get him converted into a sinker baller. So the regular season ERA is largely irrelevant. That's what I'm trying to say. That team, looking back on it, actually had a lot of things going in its favor. Chris Carpenter was just a guy?
No, he's your dude.
What are you talking about?
No, he's your dude. And that he would be, this year's version is not as good, but it would be Sonny Gray. And Liberatore is your Suppan, and everybody else is crap. Like, again, by the numbers. I agree with you, Bernie. I think the 06 team was a lot better, mostly because of the offense. But it's just the premise that we didn't think that was going to happen, yet it did.
Well, until you saw those guys get off the bus and they're all happy and confident and they're feeling good physically.
Yeah, but Vegas and everybody else had them losing.
The one thing I've learned, believe me, and I've been doing this, and I'm going to sound like a jerk. I've been doing this a lot longer than anybody in this market.
Yes. That's not a jerk. You're right.
First of all, Tony La Russa told me playoffs, these short series, lightning strikes.
Yep.
You get hit by lightning, it can really mess you up. But if you're the team that hits the other team by lightning, hits them with lightning, you mess them up. The first game of the playoffs, Chris Carpenter versus Jake Peavy. And Jake Peavy, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy's like the greatest thing ever. God, Cy Young. Carpenter went out there and just stuffed him.
He did.
Right?
Big time.
Because he's Chris Carpenter.
Yes.
The second game, oh my gosh, Jeff Weaver, to quote Kevin Wheeler, with that 5 ERA. And meanwhile, I had been talking to Duncan. He said, "Oh yeah, we got him ready now. He's fine. He understands." He goes out there, and I remember writing a column, and I said, "How can Jeff Weaver beat this big poison toad named David Wells in Game 2?" Jeff Weaver stuffed him.
He did.
I mean, that's all it takes is to catch lightning.
That's
and so dude. You're my guy, but you don't have historical context with this stuff.
I do, and I guess what you just said makes my point. You don't know what's going to happen in the postseason. So if you're there, you have a chance.
Yeah, especially if you have Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan running the team.
It's funny that's actually maybe the most intriguing difference, because you're right. Dunk is a force multiplier.
Well, I think the underlying who those guys were, to Bernie's point, is different than
100%.
the underlying who these guys are. For the you're not going to get a whole lot more out of Sonny Gray. You're not going to get a whole lot more out of Matthew Liberatore. You're not going to get a whole lot more out of many of these guys on the roster. Like, when you think about the ceiling of every single player on this roster, the attainable, like right now ceiling, I don't know how many guys have a lot of room to grow.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. All right. Now that I made you guys mad.
Well, and the other thing, and Wheeler, you did allude to this, but you didn't go far enough. Show me on the 2025 Cardinals. Show me, okay, where's the Albert Pujols? Where's the Yadier Molina? Where's the Chris Carpenter? Where? Hold on now. Let me finish. Where is the Jim Edmonds of 2006? Where is the Scott Rowland of 2006? I had a fan tell me today, well, Arenado's one of the great third basemen of all time. That's not the point. The point in 2006, Scott Rowland hit 23 bombs. He drove in 95 and he had a 518 slugging percentage. Does that sound like Nolan Arenado of 2025 to you?
No.
So, no. Listen, and by the way, I looked up Jeff Weaver, his final 3 starts of the regular season. ZRA was about 4. He was, to my point, he was rounding into form after Dave Duncan transformed him as a sinker ball pitcher.
Now that I made you guys mad, I got to take a break.
Oh, I'm not mad because I'm right. I shut you down.
You're not. No, listen, you're not wrong at all. I'm just trying to make the point that nobody thought those things when the 06 series started, outside of people like yourself who were in the room with Tony. You got the inside information. I saw baseball people all over the country going, this team's done. They're not going to beat the Padres or the Mets or the Tigers.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but they also won when the Cardinals, finally they come out and kick San Diego's butt.
Yep.
All of a sudden, people were still writing stupid stuff about they were like this awful team or something. And I got to admit, after I saw just the way Carpenter and Weaver, just like everybody was on top of their game in that first round, I'm like, well, this is a different team now. But I can't say that. I look at the people on this clubhouse.
I'm with you.
They do not have the track record that those guys in the 2006 teams had.
Correct.
And by the way, okay, then people mentioned to me, and I said, I don't want to hear about 2011 either.
No, I mean, that's not even close to the same.
First of all, you got La Russa and Duncan running the thing.
Yeah, not even close.
No, and that you have Chris Carpenter at his peak. You have Adam Wainwright didn't pitch, but you have, you had all of these players putting up huge numbers.
Oh, the lineup was crazy.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't want to hear it about 2011 either. Totally different team.
Totally. On
Sorry,
that note,
buddy.
Kyle's going to yell at me.
Sorry, buddy.
No, don't be sorry. That was great. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll keep up with the second half preview and getting ready for the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks tonight here on KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, you can choose from payments
Redbird just a little slow at the city limits, approaching Ballast. They were clearing a crash there recently, and then it's on the brakes from 364 out to 70. Southbound 170 bogs down at Ladue. South 270 Aldo Ladue is a little slow. A new crash westbound 44 east of Lewis. A little bit of a delay there. Northbound 55 northbound Bayless up to River to Pear. You've got slow traffic. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour, Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. The music fit in the tone of the first segment. That was fun, man.
Hey, man, you know what? I just told you, texted you off the air, and I'll be really quick, and I promise. See, there is a way to argue on the radio and debate on the radio and go back and forth, but make it really, really fun.
Yes.
But what you need to do that is the two people that are arguing and debating, there's got to be mutual respect. And there's also got to be a sense of fun where you know you're going to kind of be just like slinging stuff at each other and it's all in good fun.
Yep.
In our business, there's too many guys, not even women, guys, that if you disagree with someone you work with, it's like an act of war, you know, and it's like, you know, all these insecure dudes, it's like, well, I got to defend my manhood now,
Right.
You know, all that kind of crap. I love everyone at KMOX because there's none of that here. None of that.
None. We all get it. Yeah, we all get it. And the whole point is the conversation leads somewhere, which is where it did. And the idea is that it was fun to listen to because I know it was fun for us kicking it around. So on this same note, a lot of buzz, and we got a few minutes here before we run out of the top of the hour. But this is also like Ollie's been talking about this, Bernie, with you guys on the Gas House Gang and kind of repeatedly through various stories. I saw Derek Gould's story today where he's referring to it too. Like, the concept of playing for a wild card spot, which is where you are now, maybe the division, but for now it's a wild card spot, and the runway thing is clearly changing for some guys based on performances.
Yeah. And Matt, go ahead, man, because I've been doing all the talking.
Things have changed because you put yourself in a position where you're in contention for a playoff spot and you're just not going to throw that away. That's an obvious thing. And then some guys have done more with it than others. There's no way to just put Jordan Walker in the lineup every single day and give the sense that you're really trying to win games and really trying to make a run for the postseason. Alec Burleson and Nolan Gorman have earned that spot more than somebody like a Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
So, and Wheels, you and I were talking the break. There's value in playing games that matter.
Yeah.
So even if there isn't much internal belief that this team can get to the postseason, there's value in making it seem like they're making a run and having games that in August and September do still mean something and the white flag wasn't raised. But at the same time, I don't think any of us thought that the season was going to go this way.
No.
Some of us thought the season was going to be one where they contended, but the different twists and turns that this season has had this year
It's a roller
has
coaster.
been a really odd thing to experience.
Yeah.
And Wheels, you and I talked about this on DGS. You know, I think Jordan Walker is kind of the focal point of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And listen, he's up here, but the Cardinals are still playing for something, and everyone in the clubhouse knows they're playing for something, and they feel they're playing for something. So I don't see where they should feel obligated. Well, he's up here, we better get him in the lineup.
Agreed.
However, once this thing, it's pretty clear. If it comes to that, they're not going to be in the playoffs. Then, to me, you play Jordan Walker every day.
Totally agree. And I mentioned this earlier on DGS. I mentioned it to Matt off the air so I could bring him up to speed. So this is just for the people tuning in that didn't hear earlier. But there's no reason why Walker has to be in the big leagues. He does not have to be here. And I got precedent. Look at how Detroit handled Spencer Torkelson. This guy was the first pick in the draft when he came out of college. At one point was the number one prospect in baseball. He had a 30 home run season in 2023, and they sent his butt back to the minor leagues last year because he struggled in April and May, and then told him this spring, you got to make the team. You are guaranteed nothing. You got to make the team. And now he's on pace for a 35 homer season. He's doing okay. But my point is, if that guy can be sent down in his second full year, third season in the big leagues as a former number one overall pick who was the number one prospect, then Jordan Walker can go back down.
There is the what do you learn about Jordan Walker in the minor league side of it,
Some of it is you just got to perform in the big leagues.
That's the more important part. So I think the Cardinals will yell, hey, there's not a lot that he can accomplish anymore at AAA. The other side of it is, well, is he actually accomplishing anything at the big leagues? And he's not. Where I take issue, and I've said this a million times, we have heard Oliver Marmol say time and time and time and time again about, well, we got to know who this guy is at the end of the year. This guy's 23 years old. Guess, you know what? I can declare at 5:26 p.m. on Friday, July 18th, we're not going to know who Jordan Walker is at the end of the year.
Exactly.
We're not. We just simply are not. There's not enough time, or in their terms, runway. There's not enough left this year for us to learn anything that's real and valid and a for sure thing moving forward when it comes to Jordan Walker. And that's okay. That doesn't mean throw him away.
Nope.
That doesn't mean trade him. Nope. That doesn't mean he can't be part of your future plans. That doesn't mean anything. It means he's a 23-year-old ball player who has flaws, who hasn't worked out his flaws, and he may still or he may not, and nobody knows.
Well said.
And Walker, he's already had more plate appearances this year than he had all of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And his numbers, every category, are career low, and that's what's distressing. And I'd love to get behind the guy, and I certainly don't want to give up on him.
No,
but he's getting worse instead of better, and his defense, which was really good for the first month or so, has really relapsed because I think he takes his offensive woes out into the outfield, and it makes him shaky.
Yep.
I feel bad for the guy because I do believe he wants to be great, but it's just been really hard for him to make that breakthrough.
Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you on the Redbird Rush Hour. Stick around. We got a lot more to do. We're taking you up until 6 o'clock here on KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's low
Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to goodrx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. You know, we're in the Priority Club at Saliga. Let me explain what that is, because I very much recommend it. We've been a Saliga family for 16, 17 years. The Priority Club is a maintenance plan that will save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. And that really matters because they come out to your home a couple times a year. They check everything. In our experience, they'll catch a little small thing that doesn't cost any money to fix right on the spot. And that saves you from the chance of it becoming a big, expensive issue. So the maintenance plan is, the Priority Club is well worth it. You receive priority scheduling. You have the comfort of knowing your home is safe and ready for all 4 seasons. Family owned and operated for nearly 100 years, Saliga Heating and Cooling offers free estimates, financing options, and still has the best and most trustworthy customer service in St. Louis. And I'm going to end on that. The Saliga family has been serving St. Louisans continuously since 1927. I can tell you about our experience, and we've relied on Saliga for a very long time. We know that Saliga sets the standard for honesty and knowledge and professionalism and prompt service. They always look for ways to save us money instead of trying to talk us into something more expensive. Excellent integrity, and everything they do is first rate. To find out more about Saliga Heating and Cooling, this Daikin comfort dealer, call 314-481-7333. Or if you go to the site, the number is there for you whenever you need to do it. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared. $564.81. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, you're back in on the Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on a Friday. Sports Open Line coming up after the top of the hour. After that, Cardinals pregame at 7:45, and then first pitch 8:40 for tonight. All right, real quick, it's time for our Game Day Men's Health Peak Performer. Get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. This is just going to be a recognition of Alec Burleson having been one of the team's best hitters for the last 2 months. Certainly the best hitter, I think, so far in the month of July. He's been doing the job. He's earned the playing time. I don't think there's any questions about that moving forward. So this is just a point of recognizing him as, especially the last couple of months, as if not your best hitter, one of your top 2 hitters consistently out there on a day-to-day basis. Now, following that, guys, I want to change subjects just a little bit because we were talking about Runway and other guys like Burleson taking away opportunities that were not earned by someone like Jordan Walker. So if on the offensive side, poor performance can take away your runway, why can't that stand true for the back end of your rotation with 2 veteran starters who are not earning their jobs? Now, again, last time out, Miles was competitive. Fine. And I'm sure he'll do it again, and it'll be surrounded by other games that aren't good. At some point, though, do you have to apply the same rationale to all lineup and rotation decisions, or do you keep playing this inconsistent, well, it's one standard for one guy and it's another standard for another guy?
You nailed it. That's what it is.
Bernie, I don't know if you
know.
I struggle talking about this because we see what's happening.
Yes.
It's not changing. It's obvious that you have a guy in Michael McGreevy, and I'm not here to appoint Michael McGreevy as an ace or a top of the rotation guy, but simply if you view him as a 3 or a 4, he is going to be more competitive and he's going to keep you in more games than an Eric Fetty and a Miles Michaelis. It is like These are inarguable. We're supposed to come here and have a good conversation where we all bring different.
Well, we did that earlier.
There's nothing here.
That's right.
There's nothing. This is an inarguable point.
No, I know.
There's no reason that Michael McGreevy should be at AAA right now, and Miles Michaelis and Eric Fetty should both be in the rotation over him. And I just don't know where the conversation advances beyond that.
Your read, Bernie. Is it the money, or is it just the sheer weird hope that they might be able to trade Fetty for something?
Yeah, I think it's stubborn pride. I think it's ego.
Okay.
And I also think because, John Mozeliak made a trade, which we all, I think most of us thought it was a good idea.
I
at
agree.
The time.
I liked it.
See, I don't believe in like going back and pretending I panned the trade at the time. No, I liked the trade. Fetty was having a hell of a season for the White Sox, but he showed up and the first thing he did was like basically tell, the trainers and Ollie Marmol that he was gassed. He was tired. And so in August, he got beat up pretty good. He did recover in September. But the bottom line is this, John Mozeliak, he's the one that billboarded this as a runway season, young opportunities for young guys. McGreevy has done enough in his limited time with the Cardinals to show that he warrants such an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But John Mozeliak, I think he just doesn't want to admit that the trade turned out to be a total failure. And so he's going to go down to the last inning, trying to get something for Eric Fetty. Here's the stat that I use about Eric Fetty. I don't look at win-loss records individually. I do look at a team's record when a guy starts. I think it tells you more. The Cardinals, since they got Fetty, are 8-21. Now, when he starts, if you are running a baseball operation, how could you possibly stick by this guy when you're the one saying it's a runway season and, but we're also trying to win? Well, McGreevy checks both boxes. So the inconsistency is remarkable, but that's why they're going to have a new guy taking over after the season, I guess.
That's a good way to put it. All right, we're going to do a quick hit of traffic. We'll finish up this segment with a couple more thoughts. I'm going to ask you guys about Mason Wynn here in a second. Before we do that, though, let's see how the roads are looking here in your afternoon commute with Captain Roger Brand.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, Kevin, they're still busy, not out of hand, but we still have heavy traffic, especially Metro East. You still have slow traffic. Southbound 55 midway down from 143 to 270. Westbound 70 approaching the 3I's still heavy. And there's a couple of spots between 270 and 159 and west of there out to 255 that remain slow. Westbound 64 downtown. Route 3 to the Poplars heavy. We still have those slowdowns westbound 64 as well from 158 all the way through Greenmount Road due to the road work out in the Westplex. It's still pretty tough. Westbound 70, Lake St. Louis, all the way out through Wentzville Parkway slow. Eastbound 70, a couple of delays midway in from Wright City through Forestell all the way in through the Wentzville Parkway area is heavy. Westbound 64, the backup in St. Charles County from just west of 364, solid out to 70. Eastbound 64, McKnight to Big Ben's on the break. Southbound 170, bogs down at the Parkway. And westbound 44, still some slow stuff through Antire to Lewis because of a crash that we're clearing at that point. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, back in on the Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. I want to tackle another mystery because I'm a big fan of Mason Wynn. I think he's phenomenally gifted. He is very young. We can't forget that. He's still only 23, just like Jordan Walker. And he plays such good defense that this is not about whether he should come out of the lineup or nothing like that. He should be your shortstop. He is one of the best shortstops in Major League Baseball this year. Just defensively. There's just no question about that. But I continue to worry about the bat. And now we're sitting here in mid-July. The OPS is under 700. He's 3-4% below Major League average. This is his trend by month in 2025. April, 922 OPS. May, 801. June, 612. July, 535. So it's gradually getting worse at the plate. He's doing some things this year better than he did last year. But when you look at the weighted on base, it's below last year's. And the expected weighted on base is what the numbers are now. So it's not bad luck. What he's getting is what he's deserving when it comes to this. This is not a question about whether he should play. He should be playing. But this is something that, like I asked the other night, and I'm going to throw it at you guys. How many defense-only positions can you run out there? Because center field is defense only. Shortstop right now is defense only. Catcher is defense only. And sadly, Nolan Arenado is basically defense only at this point.
For me, and I got frustrated because he had that Washington series where he went 6 for 12.
Yeah.
And I thought that was him coming back out of it. In fact, you were off one day and I had the peak performer and I named him that because he had the,
you ruined it then.
Because he had the 6 for 12 series against Washington. You mentioned all those other guys, Kevin. I don't have extreme offensive expectations for any of them. I have expectations offensively for Mason Wynn. I think he can be a very good hitter. So for me, it's frustrating watching the way this is going down right now because I think he is underachieving from an offensive standpoint.
If we go back and see this, even a couple of good months he had earlier this year.
Yeah.
But if you go back like his last 475 plate appearances, getting back to like late August of last season, he's hitting 237 and he's got a 292 on base percentage, which is 15% below the MLB average at that time. The overall Major League OPS over this time period is 714. But Wynn's got a 665 OPS against right-handed pitchers. And you thought, okay, well, that's all right because he can hit lefties. No, his OPS against lefties since late last season is 664. So my thing is, like, I'm a fan of his, but I think he should be better than this offensively. He's another guy that's like actually going the wrong way offensively. And I will say this, there is a reason why the Cardinals are giving J.J. Weatherholt a lot of run at shortstop. I'll leave it at that.
It's funny because I've asked that question a million times. Like, why isn't he playing second? Why isn't he playing third? Why is he not getting some time at shortstop? And I actually raised this the other day. So I'm glad you brought that up, Bernie. Maybe the future head of baseball operations isn't as sold on Wynn as an everyday shortstop as we think. Because if Weatherholt's an option, that's a bat. That's a real bat.
The way it was explained to me is like, look, we love his defense, but we're talking about a league average shortstop offensively. And, and can he even sustain that? So we're waiting to see. There's like no one's made any decisions. But the idea that J.J. Weatherholt starting at shortstop at Memphis is like they're just trying to get him some time. Here's the deal, guys. They're going to be promoting J.J. Weatherholt soon enough. It could be after the trade deadline. Who knows? I have people saying to me, and I'm sure you guys have heard it too, obviously. Well, where's he going to play?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he'll play anywhere.
What are you talking about? Where's it? What? Like they got an infield of like Hall of Famers that are like in peak form? What are you talking about? You put him in the lineup. His bat plays, okay? Listen, I don't think they want to move Brendan Donovan off second base, especially if they can get Gorman to third base. Donovan can play left field. The weird thing about that is Donovan is much better offensively when he's playing second base. So what are they going to tell Donovan? No, get your tail out to left field. Brendan Donovan's kind of the heart and soul of the team, and he's really good. Like his offensive numbers, check it out, guys. When he's playing second base, they're phenomenal.
Yeah,
this is where I'm sorry, Bernie.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Man.
I think the bigger point here, I think, is this is where it'd be really nice if we could hear from Chaim Bloom every once in a while, because here we are, three people going, oh, maybe Mason Wynn isn't the future shortstop. Maybe Chaim Bloom doesn't think like it'd be really nice if there'd be somebody that we could go ask the question. And if we get this full endorsement that, Mason Wynn is the shortstop of the future, then we're not having this conversation. But because we don't know what Chaim Bloom is really thinking, here we are throwing these things out there.
Yeah. And then with the way it's all set up, too, if we go down all these roads, guys, there's no spot for Nolan Gorman because Arenado has to play third base.
Right. So it's a puzzle as always. But I do know that they're getting calls for Mason Wynn, but calls are made all the time.
Absolutely.
But he would have appeal as a trade chip. I don't think the Cardinals want to do it, but they'd be stupid not to listen to offers, especially when you got the hot shot down there playing shortstop.
Amen.
And they're trying to sneak that by everybody, but we noticed that he's playing shortstop. Right?
I've been complaining about it, but maybe I should shut up.
No, he listen, Keith Law and others have said it. It's short. They think he can be a really good second baseman defensively. Shortstop, but
it's a push. But
if this dude's going to be a big time hitter, don't you sacrifice this a little bit of offense or defense, I should say, right?
You can't have 4 defense only position players. You can't.
I know, and you've been saying that a long time, and I give a tip of the cap to you, my friend.
This is your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tonight for the Cardinals. It goes Arenado, Wynn, Walker, Pages, Scott.
It's a lot of outs.
Yeah.
At least lately.
Goodness.
Yeah. At least lately, that's a lot of outs. All right, guys, we got one more segment to go. First up, I want to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. You can find them at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. And look, I give the same advice every time, and I followed this advice. If you don't feel right, don't just deal with it. Now, again, I'm talking about like if you go to your normal doctor's visit, there's nothing really wrong, but you're tired. You're not getting through your workouts. Maybe you're not having as much success in the bedroom. Maybe you just like, for me, I always describe heavy legs. I feel like each of my legs weigh 200 pounds sometimes. And it hasn't been that way in about 4.5 months since I went to Game Day Men's Health for the first time because I found out I had low testosterone. I didn't know it before, but it explains what I was feeling. Now I don't feel that way. I feel today like I did 10, 12 years ago because my body's kind of functioning the way that it did 10, 12 years ago, getting through workouts and all of it. So it's a simple process, guys. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Check out everything that they've got. Everything is overseen by board-certified physicians. The staff are trained experts in men's health. This is what they do all day, every day. And you'll get one price explained for whatever course of action you take, and it's explained up front. That's it. No add-ons, no extras, no, oh, by the way, there's this. None of that stuff. GameDayMen'sHealth.com and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or
Road where we had that earlier crash, 67 southbound, still backed up off 55 just to double C. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler with you here for another few minutes. Matt, pass along what we just found out because that does impact what you just talked about from that lineup 5 through 9.
Yeah, I refreshed the lineup before I said that because we were talking earlier where 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 didn't look good, or 6, 7, 8, 9 didn't look good. Gorman was in the lineup that was posted earlier today. He is not in the lineup now. He has been scratched. I don't think Ollie's
lower back thing
probably. That's what he was dealing with beforehand. I've not seen anything from the assembled media that's in Arizona. I don't know if Ollie hasn't talked yet, but 20 minutes ago, Nolan Gorman was in the lineup at 5:51 p.m. He is not.
All right. That's not great.
You know, it really is interesting how one of my concerns about the Cardinals after the break, they were of all the teams in the majors, they were the least impacted by injuries in terms of wins above replacement value.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you just have this feeling, oh man, that's going to kind of level off. That's going to balance out a little bit. Mm-hmm. And think about it. You had Contreras,
Herrera,
Arenado, Herrera, and now Gorman.
Newt.
And it's just like, Newt. All of a sudden, it's starting to pile up a little bit.
Well, in all honesty, guys, if that does pile up in the next 2 weeks, it probably does make the answers to the trade deadline a little bit simpler.
And what do you guys think about this? I think, listen, and I haven't flip-flopped on Pages. I have great respect for him. I understand his benefit. I understand how the pitchers really, really think he makes them better. Yeah. But I think, Pozo, who is the most delightful surprise of the season, he's only started 20 games at catcher this year.
Yep.
And I'm not saying, he's got to be your number one catcher. No, he doesn't have to be your number one catcher. But I would think that he would start more games than that. And because he's Wheels, you know much more about this than I do. Mm-hmm. He is a respectable catcher defensively?
He's fine. Yeah, he's not great, but he's fine. But it's hard because you're right. It's only 20 games. So, but what I'm saying is he throws okay, blocks okay. Like it's not like he's going to rank high in numbers, but it's such a small sample size. It's like evaluating 50 at bats. But he's fine. He's fine. And it's fine enough when you need offense is kind of the point.
Right, exactly. And I do think, however, because there are two sides to everything, you have a much better bench when he comes in off the bench.
Correct.
His numbers when he enters a game as a substitute, they're laughable in terms of great.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. So that was a great find by John Vooch, by the way. It really was.
Yeah, it was.
Great
that was
find.
A big depth find. Because, again, they have catching depth building up, but they weren't guys that you would want to be in that, like, third catcher role or now as a backup catcher. They're guys that need to play every day, like
he was brought
Crooks and Bernal and all those guys.
He was brought in to be a veteran to pair with Crooks at AAA. And, well, he's got a bigger job than that.
He's got a little bit bigger job than that. And he's done his job very well. But I would agree. Sometimes you just have to say we need a little bit more offense right now. And then when that levels off, then we can go back to our guy every day being the defensive guy. Boys, that's going to be it, man. We're out of time, although Matt's got Sports Open Line until 7:45. Pregame from that point, 8:40 for the first pitch. Going to be busy.
Late night.
Yeah, late night for Matt. Late night for all of us because we'll be watching. I'll probably be texting with you, Burn, as we go through this.
I don't know that I'll be watching it live, but we will text.
All right, sounds good. Have a great weekend, Bernie. Matt, you do the same. Redbird Rush Hour's over. Sports Open Line coming up next.
Hey, guys. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So